Good evening and welcome to KMTV. I'm Nicola Everett. Your top stories tonight. Woman held after death crash. Migrant dies trying to reach Kent. And rugby legend in Canterbury. But first this evening, a woman has been arrested after a crash on the M25 which killed a Maidstone cyclist. The lorry driver, who's in her 30s, has been held on suspicion of causing death by dangerous driving. The collision happened on the clockwise carriageway near the QE2 bridge in Essex at about 6 this morning. A man in his 50s suffered serious injuries and died at the scene. A migrant has died attempting to get to the UK via the Channel Tunnel. A freight shuttle heading to Folkestone was stopped at 10:20 last night, shortly after leaving the French terminal, when a number of migrants were spotted on the tracks. Several others were discovered on board the train. One was unconscious and another injured. Emergency services in France have since confirmed a man later died. He's thought to be the 10th person to have lost his life attempting to get to the UK via the tunnel since June. A prison on the Isle of Sheppey has come under fire in a new report that's raised concerns about drug use and violence. Rachel O'Donoghue has the details.
Increased drug use, availability of weapons and mobile phones, gang violence and the risk of Islamic extremism. These are among the problems found here at the 1,100 capacity HMP Swaleside. The Independent Monitoring Board's latest report also showed that a severe lack of guards was leaving prisoners at risk of violence. The chairman of the monitoring board, Barry Page, says despite the problems, prisoners still seem to have a good respect for staff. But in the same week that one prisoner was found guilty of murdering a fellow inmate, it looks as though the prison still has some way to go.
As Rachel mentioned in her report there, a prisoner at Swaleside has been found guilty of murdering a fellow inmate who was found with almost 200 stab wounds. 33-year-old Paul Wadkin, who was already serving a sentence for wounding, has been jailed for a minimum of 30 years. Another prisoner, 45-year-old Jason Gomez, admitted participating in the killing and was already serving life for murder. He'll now never be released. Now, as rugby fans across the county gear up for the start of the Rugby World Cup today, Aidan Gregory meets one of Canterbury's best-kept secrets.
With the 2015 Rugby World Cup kicking off tonight between England and Fiji in Twickenham, not many people would expect a former Fijian fly half to be teaching the sport in Canterbury. Nicky Little is still Fiji's record point scorer and played in 4 Rugby World Cups, but how different will this year's tournament be as he watches from the sidelines?
You know, I just watch it for fun, really. I'm not going to analyse anything. I'm just going to watch it and for the first time have some beers and relax and burgers and take some photos and send it to my mates and say, in your face, look what I'm doing. So.
Settled in his new role coaching at Simon Langton Grammar School, how does he find life working with a younger team?
These kids, the amount of stuff that comes out of their mouths, it's awesome and awful at the same time, so I don't listen to them. But I guess, you know, I've done something in my life and I've got to show people the shortcuts to doing it. That's what my job is as a teacher.
This is Aidan Gregory for KMTV.
And finally, it's back to the 40s this weekend at Chatham's historic dockyard. Jem Collins went to find out more.
Vintage dress, swing music and a resilient wartime spirit. In fact, you'd be forgiven for thinking you stepped back into the 1940s. And for one weekend only, you can, as Chatham's historic dockyard opens its Salute to the 40s festival. Preparations are already underway for the 2-day extravaganza, which organisers say promises fun for all the family.
Salute to the 40s this weekend celebrates the 70th anniversary of the end of the Second World War. With music and dancing, we have a Spitfire display each afternoon. So this is important to us and this period is important to us, and we commemorate as well as celebrate.
This is Jem Collins at the historic dockyard in Chatham for KMTV.
Now, before we go this evening, let's take a quick look at the weather for the weekend coming up. There'll be heavy rain across most of the county this evening, with temperatures falling to the mid-teens. Things, though, are looking much brighter for Saturday, with plenty of sunshine and highs reaching around 17 degrees. Set to be turning slightly cloudier on Sunday, but the good news is the rain should be staying away. That's all for now, but we'll be back at the same time on Monday. Don't forget, you can also find us on Facebook and Twitter, and you can also get all the latest at kentonline.co.uk. Have a very good evening. Good night.